elbow is down, the left hand is open, the pole is resting in the palm of the hand. Then we're working on pushing tall with the right hand. First without a step, then with a step. So the timing has to be hands, then feet. Stretching tall. Then turning over the chest while maintaining neutral spine. Then hands, left foot, hands, right foot, hands, left foot. So that's the sequence there at the end. So it should be hands, left foot, hands, right foot, hands, left foot. And that's how you should plant to get a smooth plant into the takeoff. Okay, so continuum of function. So we need to move from less functional, sterile, artificial. You can see that drill was quite sterile and artificial. To more functional, to the most functional, not sterile real life, which is actually jumping. So here's the guys again doing very similar party drills this time, but without the hurdle. The guy on the left is Thomas Bexton, 19, jumped 550 this year. And the girl is Aino Seetonen, she's 21, jumped 430. So the hand comes up, turns over the chest and pushes through. Then we're working on lowering just with the bottom hand. So the guys let go with their right hand and then punch tall with their left hand. Again, the timing of the pole drop is important and the position of the tip in relation to the top of the pole going up. Then we work just with the right hand. So the guys hold the pole, lower it, and then they move the pole with the right hand up. And then David's pole drop drill. Like I said, we do this with eyes open and eyes closed. Eyes closed gives a different proprioception. David's probably done it with earplugs in as well, haven't you? You would do it earplugs, eyes closed.
Everything I can think
Zero
of.
gravity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Helium-filled poles, you name it.
Yeah. Balloon on the end of it. And then with two hands, just feeling the pole, dropping and lowering. And in this one, I'll talk more about this one in the sequence of the jump. But we're going here, hands, then chest. Yep. So they're feeling the contact of the pole with the back of the box. Okay, so next one. So to try to get a better feeling for this drill as well, what we do is we do this drill with resistance. So Thomas is going to show now a series of exercises we do with the band. You can see he's got the band going through his foot. So by feeling the resistance at the same time, he has to activate his core while moving through that motion. And we probably do this only about 20% of the time. So we're not doing this every session. We do this more in the preparation phase than we would in the competition phase. And we'll do some resistive drills and then we do some drills without resistance. But like I said, we're just using this 41-inch rubber band, which is quite easy to then put on the pole. He's working on turning the pole there over his chest. Hand comes up and then turns. Shouldn't turn straight from the hip. Thomas is just going to show you now how we set it up when we use two bands and we have resistance coming from the chest rather than the foot. So we link one band through the other one. Quite heavy resistance on this one. It's just using a single band there in the middle position. So the key thing for me is just about being creative. You just have to think of different ways trying to reinforce the same movement patterns, use different forms or different tricks to teach the athlete to get the movement patterns correct. Some resistance, some without resistance, some with one hand, some with two hands, some using hurdles, many different ways to try and reinforce this within the body. I remember many years ago when we used to have Russian guys training with us, Anatoly Chernobay and his group, they used to take a long bungee on the end of the pole and have the resistance coming from the back of the pole that way as well. Okay, so that's the end of the section on fulcrums. And now the third, last section is on pendulums. So, pendulum is a body suspended from a fixed support so that it swings freely backwards and forth under the influence of gravity. So I think we all know what a pendulum looks like that, yeah, which is typical what you see in an old clock. Now when we think about it, when we're working with a pole, not only do we have a pendulum, but we have an inverted pendulum because the pole is rotating in the box. And there's so many different factors involved with that. And then to make things even more complicated, we have a double pendulum. So it's not only inverted, rotating here, also we have the pendulum of the pole vaulter rotating around the pole. Then to make things even more difficult, the pole's going to bend and has different stiffnesses depending on where you're going to hold. The second pendulum is made of soft tissue, and the worst thing about it is that it comes with its own brain. So it's very hard to control if you're a coach. So, you know, I think we underestimate quite often the problems we have because we have double pendulum with so many different variables. And every time the athlete comes down, different things are going to happen. Because if we're in outdoors, then there's wind, there's rain, different climatic conditions. The variables are huge. So the fact that athletes can reproduce the same jump again and again within a certain tolerance is quite exceptional, really. So it's a double inverted pendulum. The key thing for me is the sequence of movements that we use to move these double pendulum. It's all about timing of muscle contractions. It's about working with the pole and not against it. So here you can see again, this was from one of Nick's papers, mathematical modelling of what happens with pole vault. The pole is straight on takeoff, then it's going to bend, then we've got all the force coming back from the pole, which results in our peak height here. So the movement sequence for me, and this is very important, and this works with the technical model that I'm using, it doesn't work with other technical models. You have to have first the hands, followed by the chest, then you have to kick with the feet, and then the hands recover again. So I'll show you exactly what I mean here. And this is a good illustration of it. This is a single pendulum, because this is not moving. The only pendulum we have here is the vaulter. And you can see hands, chest, kick, hands. So we all know when we're doing gymnastics that the muscle contractions have to work in that sequence. But many pole vaulters around the world contract the muscles in different sequence when they're pole vaulting. So let's just watch that again. So hands, chest extends, legs kick, then the hands or the shoulders close. And for me, if you go out of the order of that sequence, then you're fighting against the pole. So I'll show you now the drills that we use to try to reinforce that sequence and to feel that timing. So on this first drill here, Thomas is doing one-step walking. So you can see his hands move up when he plants, his chest goes forward onto the stiff pole, but he doesn't kick, so then he doesn't use his arms the second time. And quite often when you see some people do this drill, or beginners do this drill, they engage their arms to move the pole forward. Whereas here, I want the pole to move forward with the chest. So the chest is moving the pole forward. Hands present the pole, get maximum ground pole angle. Chest drives forward onto the pole to move the pole. Then the vaulter's waiting for the kick before they use their hands again. So I like to do lots of drills where we're not using the box, because if we use the drills now where the pole is going down onto the track, the vaulter has to jump over the end of the pole and move the top of the pole up. So we don't get that reliance of the pole sitting on the back of the box. So here's a one-step jumping drill. It's the same drill again, but with one hand higher grip. So now Thomas will jump over the tip of the pole. Again, hands, then chest. He's not engaging the hands the second time to move the pole. He's moving the pole with his chest. See how he's waiting, extending through his armpit, letting all of the muscles go to get full extension through there. So we do those drills on the side of the track, and then we move then to the box, still with stiff pole. So 2 steps, 1, 2. He's still not kicking, so he's not going to engage his hands the second time. So it's hands, then chest. Hands, chest. Then to teach the next phase in the sequence, we do this drill here, which is called swing the sit. So you can see it's the third phase now. Hands, chest, kick. Hands, chest, kick. Okay? So you're getting that stretch, and then you're kicking then afterwards. But still the hands are not engaging in the third phase. Now, because we're working with double pendulum, I'd like to take the rotation of the second pendulum, which is the athlete, to extremes. So here we can see that the guys will do salto. So they're taking that pendulum all the way around to get that feeling of the pendulum going completely the whole distance. And then to reverse the pendulum the other way, we do this drill jaggeden. So here you try and get your back foot to go above your head. So that's reversing the pendulum again the other way back. So quite often I'll see beginners jumping and they always land on their back on the pit. They'll do a vault, get upside down, land on their back on the pit. And they can't stop themselves from under swinging. So their hips come under all the time and they can't do this reverse pendulum or reverse swing. So it's very important that you teach young vaulters how to do a jaggeden, where they're going, let's watch this again one more time. They're going hands, then chest, and then pulling the leg back. Hands, chest, pulling the leg back. Yep. So that's making the pole move forward. It's a very good safety thing to do as well when an athlete's trying a new pole for the first time, or run up in training or competition for the first time. It's always best to keep your feet under your body so something doesn't go right.